Welcome to the SavagePro Race Series. We are here today in Chicago for race number 5 of 7. I am Francesca Curando and I'm joined by Miranda Huber.
Good morning, Francesca.
Good morning. Now we're here. This is race number 5 of 7. So far, we are looking at a pretty tight leaderboard. Now, just to remind everyone at home, this is a race series of 7 races. In order to win in the race, you've got to place in 5 events, maximum for 5 events, and your top points win you or place you in the series. So Miranda, I wasn't here last time, and you were. So let's quickly catch up on what happened in the last event. That was in Ohio.
Yeah, so Kempson built himself a pretty good lead right off the beginning of the race, and then he just kind of took it. But he did talk in an interview afterwards that he was kind of running scared. He knew that Jordan McDougal was kind of close behind him. So he definitely wasn't running comfortable, but it was enough of a lead that he could have retried something once or twice and still would have ran away with it. So he did great. And then Jordan McDougal was kind of in a similar boat where he had a sizable lead in front of him and behind him. So he kind of ran by himself towards the end in second place. And in third place is really where the battle was. We had Joseph Cotto, Ian Hosick, and Logan Broadbent all came into the final kind of last mile all together. And then it wasn't till the rig that kind of determined that. So Joe Cotto took third, Ian Hosick took fourth, and Logan took fifth. So that was a good finish. With the ladies, though, it was really epic. Alex Walker has been like really working on her running, and she led almost the entire race. And it wasn't until that final rig at the very end that she came into it first. She fell off. And then Chris caught up. They both tried it together. They both fell off, and then they both started it a third time. And Chris made it through, and Alex fell off, and it took her a few more tries. And after talking with the athletes afterwards, it was the fact that the Colossus, the slide obstacle, was right before the rig. So everybody going into it was just soaking wet, and there were some poles and bars that you had to put your body on. So it was just hard to make that contact when it's all slick like that. Um, so yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
we
really
do
good
know that
battle to the finish.
we do know that water obstacles and weather can heavily impact the results of the race. Now today it's already looking a little bit damp out there, so that could change things slightly. Now, quickly to touch on the women, Alex has been doing really well in the last couple of events. Like you say, she led last time in Ohio, and in Maryland, she was leading as well for the majority of the race. So today, she could again kind of pull this out of the bag. So, to look at the leaderboard here, we have Chris Rogowski. She has got 4 straight wins. She has won all the races she's taken part in so far, so she has 400 points. And I think if she gets the top 3 today, she's basically won the series. So this is quite interesting for her. And the way she's gone so far, there would have to be something quite wrong for her to not be doing that. Alex Walker in second place with 394. Jamie Horonopoulos in third with 392, followed by Rachel Waters, Sarah Grippy Sider, Michelle Cassold, Heather Butcher, Christina McFarlane, Jessica Shepard, and Amy Sorensen. So we're seeing those 3
So
familiar names at the top that we've seen place consistently in the women. And added into them today, we have Casey Monroe as well, who has done quite well, and I think she's going to be kind of pushing if today goes well.
yeah, so I was going to mention, we talked about Ohio a little bit, and I didn't mention Casey Monroe was just kind of, she was doing her thing, trudging along. It took us a few minutes to realize who she was, but she had a really solid race in Ohio, and she ended up finishing in second place. So that was an awesome performance for her, and she was really happy
Mm.
about that. She was excited for the Ohio course because it's hilly, and that really felt like her strength. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I think that we're gonna see her today, and we don't see her name in that top 10 list in the series, but that's because she's only done 2 races so far. So this will be our third one. So today is race number 5. So at
Mm.
this point in the series, anybody that has 2 races so far needs to do today to be in the series. So
Mm.
people like Casey Monroe, Jordan McDougal, Sean Roberts, Ken Corigliano, Marquez Green. Those are some names of people that have currently 2 races under their belt. So hopefully we see them all today and that'll put them in the series. I didn't see some of those names on the list. So Jordan
Mm.
McDougal and Ken Corigliano, they weren't on the registration list, but I do think we're going to see Ken. I talked to him a little bit a week or two ago at Warex. And I'm not sure about Jordan. I haven't seen anything about him, but just to kind of
The
mention
list that
that,
I.
go ahead.
Sorry, go on. No, please finish. You just to mention what.
Yeah, just to mention that the top 10 that we see now is really going to shake up after today's race because now we're going to see some of those people racking up the points. So it's kind of hard to compare or to see the true result until that final race.
So I didn't see on the list that I saw, but it could have been updated since then. Joseph Cotto, and he's been doing really well and steadily climbing. He's currently second in the men's series. He's had a couple of really good races because the men have not been as consistent as the women in turning up for the events. Ryan
Yeah.
Kempson has, but we've got a few people racing. Ryland's going to be here today. He did well in Georgia. Sean Roberts has done well, but they've not all been consistent. Ian Hozek actually is fourth in the leaderboard because he has been consistently racing. He's not been getting, top 3 results necessarily, but he's been racing consistently, and that's what's making the difference in the men. But I don't know if Joe Koso is going to be here today.
I didn't see his name in the list either, so that'll be interesting, but I can't remember how many races he has under his belt, so he doesn't necessarily have to come today if he already has 3.
He has 4 races under his belt, and he's got 3. Should we take a quick look at the men's
Okay.
leaderboard and see how they're doing? So in top is Ryan Kempson, 4 races with 399 points. He's only lost one of the races. Not lost. He's come second in one of the races. It's a terrible thing to say. He's lost a point. He's come second only in one of the races that he's taken part in. Joseph Cotto has, during this season, he's been the one that's kind of been the most exciting to watch, I think, because he's gone from kind of lower down, fifth, and then he went up to second and then third. So he's been placing really consistently. Like you say, if he has 4 events, he doesn't need to be here today. I was just quite excited to see how he was going to do. But there is quite a strong field with Ryan Kempson, Rylan, and Sean Roberts here, so maybe it wouldn't be the best one for him to take on. So the men's leaderboard, we have in first place Ryan Kempson with 399 points. Coming up behind him with 389 points is Joseph Cotto. Johnny Morris is in third with 335. It's followed by Ian Hozek, who we just mentioned, who's been consistently racing and is here today. So we could see him kind of go up further if he just keeps taking part. Kevin Thompson is in fifth, followed by Sam Osborne, Ashton Abraham, Robbie Gingerich, Justin Parker's in ninth, and Freddie Thompson in 10th. Now, a lot of those names are not names that we've necessarily mentioned whilst we've been doing the coverage, because like we said with Ian Hozek, we kind of focus on the front runners. But it is really interesting to see this consistency paying off with the athletes. So even though the names may not have popped up that much, they are showing up and doing their thing.
Yeah, we're getting our first look at the course right now. Some athletes warming up. I see a couple people wearing jackets. We see the temperature there, rainy, 63. A few minutes ago, we saw some people on the course wearing rain jackets. They had umbrellas. So I'm thinking it's rainy or raining. Um,
Hmm.
and it's a little chilly if you're not racing, but I feel like the temperature, though, is probably really great for anybody running fast. It's really good running temp.
Yeah, that looks like actually a good running temperature, but the kind of dampness is never great for obstacles, especially at Savage Race where they do have those kind of heavy grip obstacles going on.
Yeah, so even some of the kind of simpler grip obstacles. So I think of something like Anchors Away, that when it's dry, they're just rings. That's pretty easy to grip onto. When they are wet, though, that is a whole different story. So I would not be surprised to see some major lead changes or placement changes happening because of wet obstacles.
Now, you mentioned earlier that this course is quite a flat course with a lot of good running. Who do you think that's going to work in favour of today?
I think Sean Roberts in the past has really showed that he excels in that kind of course. He's a college cross country athlete, so I think he's more standardized into
Hmm.
flatter-ish courses. He can obviously handle some elevation as well because he's done really well in Ohio too. But I think that that's really going to suit him. And I think that the only race where Ryan Kempson got beat was at a flatter course, and that's where Sean beat him on the running. So
Mm.
I think today Sean is going to be my favorite, but I know somebody else gave me a prediction this morning and they said because it's wet, they think that Ryan is going to have that proficiency on the obstacles and that's going to
Mm.
pay off in his favor. So it's really hard to choose between the two of them. Um,
Mm.
and then obviously names that we've talked about as well, like Ken Corigliano, um, who is Ian Hosick. All those athletes are going to be really good on obstacles and
Mm.
um, yeah, strong runners too.
We do have Rylan Shadegg here again today. He was in Georgia, he came third. He's been not competing so much because of I don't think he calls it an injury, it's a discomfort or a pain that kind of stops him running correctly, an Achilles issue. I think since last year. So it'd be interesting to see him today. Hopefully he holds up for the running because he is, as far as I'm concerned, quite an exceptional athlete. So hopefully, it'd be nice to see him on the podium. This is his second race of the series, so you know he's here to enjoy it, but it'd be good to see him do well. And
Yeah.
then with the women, um, you mentioned how Alex has been working on her running, and she's been getting faster. So maybe this could again benefit her in the running with the flatter course. And it'll be interesting to see if she can again kind of hold that lead throughout, and what will happen on these kind of slightly damp obstacles.
Yeah. So my original plan was to kind of vote for Alex this time around because she's been working on the running. She's proven over the last two races when she has led the whole thing that she has the legs that it takes. But now that it's raining, I'm not sure. I feel like that can always shake things up, especially after Ohio, where she had some trouble after doing a wet rig was difficult for her. So
Mm,
I don't know. I really want it for Alex because I think she wants it really bad. Um,
yeah.
so hopefully
It's
she'll
hard because it's
be
like I
able to put
want
that
Chris
together.
to have a clean sweep, but I also want other athletes to get what they deserve. So this is the men's start line. We can see Sean Roberts there. He is topless. Ryan, I recognised earlier, but yep, there he is with the hair, and Rylan wearing his kind of uniform that he always has. Can you spot Ian Hosick? Because as we always mention, I love to spot people by what they're wearing. It becomes the easiest way.
Um, I recognize this with the orange band on his
Yeah, I think
arm.
that's
I can't
yeah.
remember.
He's a little orange band.
If anybody in the comments section can tell us on the live feed. Okay, with the
With the orange. Yeah, so
okay,
that's
so
Ian
that is
is wearing the orange little orange armband there, which is fantastic. I mean, it's a
and
big
then I
men's field. It's
also
so strange. Yeah.
yeah, I also noticed Marquez Green. He's had a really consistent finishes in the top 10. He's in those blue shorts with like maybe yellow ducks on them or something, which is even more appropriate for a rainy course if that's what they are.
I was very concerned at how serious Rylan was looking there. I was like, oh no, he looks sad. No, he's just in the zone and always smiling. Yeah, it's so odd with such a large men's field to just talk about a few athletes. You can see so many people there. Um, we do see you all. We want you all to do well and enjoy it. So the men will be
Yeah.
going off very shortly.
I was hoping for a Ken Corigliano sighting. I don't see him. I wondered if maybe he was just behind the front runners, but I
Mm.
don't see him in there at all. He did tell me that in Ohio he showed up late and was like one of the last athletes to start the course. He's like 30 seconds behind or something.
Mm.
Yeah, it looks wet. These athletes look like I feel like you could tell on Rylan that his hair was getting damp. So it's
It
it's
looks
raining.
To use an English joke, it's the fine weight rain that wets you through. Right, and they're off. There they go. They look absolutely soaked already. Everything looks very, very damp. It's a strange start through a car park. A fast start as well. There we go. We've got another view with Sean leading in the front already. We've already mentioned that Sean is a very accomplished runner, and this could be quite a good course for him for the running. There's quite a long route until we get to the first obstacle, which is barn doors, and then another long stretch of running until the second obstacle, which is big cheese. So this is kind of the opportunity where the strong legs make the distance and put the gap out, isn't it?
So I want to give kudos to this younger, it looks like a younger guy here, kind of closest to the camera, number 42. Um, he's looking strong, pushing that pace.
You have great eyesight to be able to see the number. I can literally see colours. And they all run topless. Yeah, it was. So we had right out the gate leading with Sean Roberts with this guy next to him. They gave each other a little fist bump, like, yeah, we're racing together. And he was holding his own with Ryan just slightly behind. Oh, there we go. The younger chap has, dropped back very slightly. We seem so far to have good coverage, which is great. It's always a bit difficult when you're out in the open to know what the coverage is going to be like and what the pitch is going to be like. But we have 3 or 4 rabbits out today. A big thank you to all of them, because this is not an easy job, giving us coverage, and especially when they're moving so fast. So Sean still leading for the men, followed by Ryan. 2 unknown topless men, and then Rylan.
Yeah, they all look very strong. I feel like the gentleman in the red tights, somebody can help me out. I remember seeing him, I think from the Savage Chicago race last year.
It sounds really cold there. It sounds windy. That does not. That looks like a very British race.
I see from the chat, somebody said it's been drizzling for the last 2 hours. Sometimes the slow drizzle is worse than a solid rain because you get that kind of buildup of wetness.
Yeah, it just kind of leaves.
Okay, the red tights. Red tights is Robbie G. Gindrich. Okay, we mentioned him.
Oh yeah, so he's 10th and the. Yeah. Is he? He's 8th in the series, yeah. Sorry. Excellent. So we didn't see Joe Cotto, but as you mentioned, he doesn't actually need to be here today to be running. To be in the running. I mean, he would kind of lose a few points, I guess, because he's not racing, but he's able to make that up. I did just hear as well that Rylan is off to Noob Sanity tomorrow after this race, so he's doing a bit of a Chris and taking on multiple events and travel.
Oh, putting them into a water crossing.
I can feel
They might
that.
have this thought, though. At least I'm already wet because it's raining.
Oh, there's just something about getting chest deep into that kind of water, though, that just, it always takes my breath away slightly.
Man, they are swimming. It must be deep.
Ryan taking a tiny little bit of a lead.
Yes! That's a legit swim.
And
I feel like Rylan.
Is that Rylan? Yeah.
Yeah, he closed the gap a little bit on the
He
swim.
really did. And
Ooh,
Sean
is
time to
losing
get
a
out
lot
of
of
water.
ground.
Come on, Sean.
Yeah.
Good job.
He looks like he got a lot of that stuff kind of caught on him and it almost pulled him back.
I mean, talking
Yeah,
about
good work,
people's
guys.
outfits, I think we need to
Job
mention there the
done. Good
banana
job,
shorts. Were they banana
Ian.
shorts?
Go
Because they were
Buckets.
fabulous. Genuinely, anyone who's going to be racing at the front of packs, wear great clothes and you'll definitely get a mention because I love it.
Yeah,
But
I think
yeah, I
that's
mean,
Marquez green. I thought they were rubber ducks, but they could definitely have been bananas. I couldn't really see.
yeah, I think Sean coming out of that water was just like, this sucks. I'm going to make it up on the
Legit
running.
swim.
But yeah, we don't often see big swims like that. You know, water crossings, yeah, wading through, yeah, but big swims, not necessarily. It's great though.
Great work,
It's
everybody.
OCR.
Yeah,
Why not?
I think I really like that it's just kind of this short little crossing, but it is
Yeah,
deep enough to make it like a legit swim.
yeah.
But you don't feel like unsafe because it's kind of a short distance, so that's nice.
Mm.
Go get him, Marty. Great work, guys. Good job.
So we'll have our rabbits heading up to the next obstacles to be catching people. Let's have a quick talk about the kind of obstacles that we're going to be seeing today, the order that they're in, and whether they could be causing any problems like they did last time for people.
That's neck high.
So the whole first mile is just has the one obstacle barn doors, although we also just saw the water crossing. So I'm not sure
Mm.
exactly where on the map that was, but for the most part, the beginning is just a solid run. So that's going to create quite a bit of a gap for anybody that isn't a strong runner. Then you
Then
can
gets
see after
quite.
mile one, we get a little more into it. We've got a couple of the standard obstacles, big cheese, mud and guts. Back scratcher is one to me that causes a lot of fluctuations in the heart rate. So that one can be tough because you have to go up high over a wall and then down low under a crawl.
Mm.
Then we got rhythm race and slippery incline around mile two.
It gets quite obstacle heavy from this point. Big long
Yes.
run, and then it gets quite into it, and you can see from the satellite view that it is kind of, we're looking at farmland really, so flat
Yep.
running farmland with obstacles thrown in. It's really nice how Savage change up the location and the terrain for each event, so it really is something different, and they mix up the obstacles and bring different obstacles in, so it's always kind of, each race is very different.
Yeah, I love how they have that really good variety. Some, another series, it's like mostly mountain courses, so anybody that's better at just flat terrain isn't going to perform as well. But in the Savage series, they really have it's such a good variety that anybody can excel in any of the different venues.
Yeah. It kind of, yeah, it changes us up. I mean, we are seeing the same people doing well, but that's kind of more down to their proficiencies than the courses. But it's nice to have that change. So we just saw the men going through obstacle number 3, which was mud and guts, and now they're chasing them onto the next obstacle. Now, back scratcher is the one that you said about the up and down and the changes in heart rate, which is obstacle number 4.
Yeah, they'll be coming up on that shortly. So we looked at like the first half of the course. The last mile of the course, it has like 10 obstacles in it. So that's where we're going to see some big changes. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see how that shakes things up.
And here we are catching up to the lead men and the obstacle 4, which is back scratcher. There's Rylan, Sean. So I'm guessing that's 3-2.
So we
And
must have
right
Kempson.
ahead is Kempson.
He
So
has
Sean has made up
developed a
some
big
of that
lead
distance. Yeah. Right, Sean's
already.
made up some of the distance he lost over the river crossing, but yeah, Ryan has really, really made a big lead, which is surprising with Sean's running heritage, that Ryan is so far ahead.
I think Sean really did lose a lot of time getting out of that water crossing. It was kind of hard to see because it seemed like they got out maybe only seconds apart, but I think the differential by the time that Sean got out of the water, Kempson was already 20 seconds
Way
away.
gone.
Yeah.
And there in the water, we saw Rylan also take a good lead because he was quite far back at the start. When they started running, he was probably, what, 7th, 8th? and then he
Yeah.
came out of that water
Let's go,
second.
Franconia Ridge!
Yeah, he looked like he swam it really strong. It looked like he really stroked his arms hard to make up that gap.
Up and over!
So 1, 2, 3,
Let's go,
Ryan
Tar.
Kempson, Sean Roberts, and Rylan Shadegg for the men. We're only 10 minutes in. We are up to obstacle. Well, we're past obstacle 4. And apparently they are rubber duckies on the shorts. They are not bananas. But either way, I love them.
Grab me in. Let's go.
So it's nice to see some different obstacles that aren't the obstacles they bring in, as in, I mean, this, like a mound of something to climb over. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. That kind of thing is a
Good
killer.
job. Dang. That's crazy. Yeah. That's so funny. Me? I can just crawl with my hands. Hands and knees. We're crawling.
So the men are still quite close together. As we said, Ryan is really quite far ahead in first, but Sean has an opportunity to catch up with the legs he has. But there's still quite a strong pack of leading men that we see, but we've still got a lot of race to go. We're only 11 minutes in. We will be going to the start line for the women in a few minutes, and they will be setting off. Oh, and there's Jack.
Let's watch the leaders go through here, like top 5.
Top 5, top 5.
How soon did the women go up?
So we did see that gap forming on Ryan, with Ryan in the lead, but sometimes you have to wonder if they're going to pay for that. Did he go out too
In what way?
strong and will fade towards the end? He's not known to fade, so I bet he'll be fine.
That's not something that we normally see from Ryan. Once he's kind of going, he's going. And he didn't, it's not, yeah, I absolutely know what you mean, because that does happen, but he didn't start in the front. I think this was the swim kind of changed a lot up very, very quickly, which is interesting because we didn't necessarily know about that. And we were going, oh, the first mile is going to be just running. It'll allow people to get the gap. So again, the first 3 men, same as it was before, Ryan Kempson, Sean Roberts, and Rylan Shadegg, then with a small gap leading to the next man. This is Ian Hosick following, and our duck shorts.
Good job, guys.
Is that, did someone say that's Mike?
Marquez Green is in the interesting
Good
shorts.
job.
And then I think the younger fellow, somebody told me in the comments, is Connor Lindsay. So I've seen him around. I believe he's a Texas athlete, and he is on the younger side. Maybe he's 18 or maybe even under 18, but he was looking really strong in that run to start it off. I
Really
think
strong.
he's going to be one of those up and coming OCR athletes where 1 or 2 years from now, he's going to be in the top of the field.
Absolutely love to see them come through. It's always nice because you get to a point where some athletes are dominating so much you think nothing's ever going to take away from them, and then new ones come through and you're like, oh yeah, look at this.
We're getting a view of the ladies start line, and they look cold. But that is sometimes good. If you're cold at the start, hopefully that means you won't be too hot on the run.
So apparently there's talk of sending the women out early, a minute or 2 early. I'm not quite sure why. We've got Jamie.
Probably because they're standing there wet and cold.
Most likely. I'm looking for Chris.
No, it's not that I'm trying to arrange.
Alex in her pink bra, which is great. Jamie in her standard. Where's Chris on that start line? Oh, there she is. Ah, she has a vest that says Rogowski on it. Very nice. And the women are off. Yeah, so they've gone out literally a minute early. Alex setting off strong. She
I
was
was
running
gonna say
strong.
the
She's
same
like, no one's
thing.
taking this away from me.
Yep. She wants to assert her dominance, show that she's got the legs, and make the other ladies work hard for it if they want to keep up.
Who are we looking at there in second place? That's not Jamie.
I was wondering the same thing.
They blur us out until they ask
And there's Jamie kind of just coming up into third with Chris in second. Chris in a very fancy running top with a name across the front.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that lady was we saw on the camera, but it's interesting that her and Jamie were wearing almost identical outfits.
Well, Jamie always wears the same, and then Chris had for a while. I wonder if they've gone out and done a course recce and kind of know about this river and how to tackle it.
I don't remember seeing that water crossing in the last year's race, but maybe I just missed it. Here
This
we've
is
got
the men here at Lumberjack Lane.
Yep, and they've got that carry obstacle block party inside of the carry.
They've done this a few times, haven't they? Putting an obstacle in the middle of Lumberjack Lane.
Yeah, they like to do
There
that,
was
and I think
water
it's great.
at one point.
Left side. Looking good, looking good. Good job, Rylan.
It makes what is a difficult obstacle a little trickier, gonna wear you out even more.
Yeah. So we've got the top three, and then there's quite a big gap before fourth. But it looks like there's a second lead group with fourth, fifth, and sixth, maybe even seventh all together there.
And for the men, we're looking at the same top three as we saw previously, aren't we?
Yeah. So in the picture-in-picture, you see the ladies running off. The woman in the lead in the all black is Julie Harchis. She came in second place in Chicago last year. She's a masters athlete. She admitted that she's not as strong of a runner, and also she was coming off of a couple injuries and surgeries last year, but she has really good grip strength. So today might play to her advantage as one of those athletes that are really good at obstacles. So hopefully the rain doesn't interfere with her as much.
It's always nice to see things kind of get mixed up a little bit with different athletes.
And then I noticed Rachel Waters in maybe about fifth place there. She was wearing the VJ Sparks, the orange shoes, and all black otherwise.
I was looking at Chris's shoes. They looked... I couldn't work out what they were. They looked almost like CrossFit shoes, which she wouldn't be wearing, but I couldn't work out what she was wearing.
This is a decent length carry.
It's really long.
It looks like Rylan is closing the gap, just step by step.
Yeah, he is absolutely on Sean Roberts' tail, which is, I mean, Rylan's a great runner and he's a great athlete, but we know that Sean is a really, really accomplished runner.
Yeah, it could be this run with a carry could just be better suited for Rylan, and then maybe once they drop it off, Sean will be able to kick it in a little bit higher. That's kind of my expectation.
Maybe. I mean, you can see on Rylan that the back of his leg is taped, because as we know, he's got the Achilles injury pain. So being able to do a weighted run like that at that speed with that injury is really impressive. Hopefully he can hold it up and kind of hold on to that third place, if not take it up a notch.
We're getting a view of obstacle number 9, Kiss My Walls. It has these rock climbing holds at the top and bottom.
Oh, here are the women going across the river swim.
So we've Alex Walker, Jamie Horianopoulos, Chris Roglowski, then Casey Monroe.
Casey going as long as she can without swimming. Yeah. Just get swimming. I mean, the men have taken a lot of the plants out, which that was one of the things that slowed Sean down, wasn't it?
I'm not sure who that is Alex in fifth, but there. Sixth was Julie. Yeah, Alex is looking strong.
Shit, sorry.
This is one of those kind of obstacles, not hugely difficult, but one that you kind of have to pay attention to. And, you know, the wetness is not going to help.
Yeah, shout out to our photographer Jack out there. You can see him in the baseball cap. Thanks for all your pictures, Jack. And braving the weather. Woo!
Good job. Oh, Jack's getting shout outs. Give us a wave.
So we've not seen another man come through yet on Kiss My Walls, and that was a reasonable gap there. Obstacle 3 for the women. Alex followed by Jamie.
I am surprised to see Jamie ahead of Chris, but
Is this...
she is a strong runner, so she could just be trying to make a gap.
I mean, it's a strange tactic for her, if that's what it was. Or maybe she's just... It's been a really heavy season for her so far. Maybe she's just a little tired. Maybe, you know, she pushes hard constantly, and she does a lot of races and a lot of events. Maybe it's slightly catching up. Or maybe I'm completely wrong, but it's unusual to see her not as far forward.
I feel like her being the front runner is kind of a newer thing for her. She used to always be in the kind of the back of the crowd, even at like our local Texas races. And then I think as she's kind of gained this momentum of, you know, world championship type titles, she's realized that she should be one of those front runners. But Chris is somebody to me that tries harder in the second half, I think. So I think maybe she's just going out with trying to be comfortable, run her own race, don't let the other ladies dictate the pace.
There's Ian
there we
going
had
through on
I think
Kiss My
that was
Walls.
Connor Lindsay.
Oh, was it? Sorry, I thought it looked like Ian.
Yeah. Here we've got Robbie Gindrich in the red tights coming in. I'm not sure who. Oh, that guy missed the bell. I thought, oh, maybe not. They don't jingle like the other ones.
Nice work.
You can see how sometimes being a taller athlete can be a little tough on this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've not seen another athlete kind of... He looked really, really crumpled up there.
You got this.
Like, Rylan is
He
not a
really
short
did.
guy. And he kind of looked absolutely fine going across. But that looked really quite difficult.
Good stuff.
Sometimes I wonder or think that it could be your almost like your hip mobility could prevent that. So if you can get low and have your hips close to the wall, then it wouldn't look quite as awkward, or you wouldn't look like you're so tall on it. So just kind of
That
depends
kind of
on
obstacle is the kind of thing that benefits women. Women tend to be better at climbing, bouldering and things like that, where you have that kind of hip mobility because they have the ability to open their hips. Like if you don't have that flexibility, it's going to be a lot harder. Your knees getting in the way and where to place your feet.
Yeah.
Alex with a strong lead.
Yeah, her running is looking excellent. This technique that she's using on back scratcher, I like this technique myself, where you go under that corner post and then you stand up and do a little jig through the middle, and then you just duck under one more time. Usually by the third one, I'm too tired to do that.
It almost looks like it shouldn't be allowed, but if it wasn't allowed, they should put barbed wire over the whole thing so you can't stand up.
Yeah, so they talked about that a little bit in the coverage last year, and essentially it's not against the rules. There's no like right or wrong way to do that obstacle, but the race director Lee talked about how he doesn't think there's really a benefit one way or the other, because standing up like that creates a different level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
So
I am kind of the mind with obstacles that it should be get from one side to the other without necessarily putting rules in place. apart from, causing danger or getting in someone's way or hurting someone. But, if you can stand up, you can stand up. If you want people to not stand up, you make it so they can't. I
Yeah,
don't think there should be any complexities in getting from A to B.
Yeah, last year was a battle between.
I agree. You don't want to create something that requires like an obstacle attendant or something to have to enforce specific rules. So just having something and saying get through it however you see fit is kind of the way to go. Now, I think
Absolutely.
they did say the only rule on that one is you do have to go under it. You can't go over. So but that
I mean,
makes
that's
sense.
valid. That's valid. This, we just mentioned it earlier before, like just horrible existing obstacle in the landscape that they've made use of. Like that cannot be fun to run up and down.
Oh, nice. Okay.
This is the top 3 men, I think, is it? At Twist and Shout?
I feel like I saw Sean Roberts, so I think that might be right.
Twist and Shout is obstacle 14. So the men are getting through 25 minutes into their race so far. Just past mile 4.
Wow, they're already
Ryan.
They're coming up pretty close to the finish. This is fast. Here is the
This
rig
is
over water.
really fast. Now, you mentioned this before we went live about this rig. What was it that you were saying?
It can just be a challenge if you fall in the water, then you're wet. I think with the rain, these athletes are already wet.
Good job, Ryan.
You can see Kempson tried to make a skip and had to kind of try a second time, but still look smooth through it.
He did a really, really nice job there, and he has a ginormous lead. There is no one coming up on his tail just yet.
Good job, Ryan. They say girls are gonna have
Last year they had a twirly bird and some other kind of a little more challenging grips on the rig over water. This one doesn't look too difficult with but a couple things to note. That hold that Sean is holding right now is a really big D ring, which can be hard to hold. And then you see they've got that vertical rope. So Sean makes it look really easy, but those things can create a little bit of a difficulty.
So Sean's taken a little bit of a lead on Ryan. We did see on Lumberjack Lane that Rylan was catching up to Sean on the running, but Sean has taken just a little bit of a lead. And Rylan going through that obstacle absolutely beautifully.
Yeah, his hand slipped a tiny bit on that little rope. And I also didn't realize they had those vertical blue nunchucks, which all of the pro men skipped, but we'll see. Some of the ladies may not have the wingspan to skip that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts things, because those blue nunchucks are super slick when it's wet.
Yeah, you can see them just there.
to be like drop.
Very kind of slim vertical poles. Alex is having a solo run there. You had a little jog by herself. Now this is 4th place male.
Good job, Marquez.
He skips the nunchuck. Looks solid, nice. But you can see he took a couple extra seconds to dry his hands before he went into it, just to guarantee he had a better chance of finishing.
Good job.
So that was, is that Marquez that was in 4th place? And this is Ian Hozek.
Yes.
Someone
Good job,
can...
Ian.
Oh, you can, oh.
Oh, that looked quite painful. So
Yeah.
there we go. The current top 5 for the men: Ryan Kempson, Sean Roberts, Rylan Shadegg, Marquez Green, and Ian Hozek in 5th. Ian, we are currently watching on this rig. He has been the first one to slip into the water so far.
And you
It's a
could
pretty
see he
tasty
grabbed that
rig.
nunchuck and it was just slick. He slipped right off it. Here he is.
So this could
Nice.
cause some real problem for the women if you're, as you're saying, they don't have the wingspan to miss out that nunchuck.
Let's go.
Who would we see benefiting from this rig, and who could we see kind of suffering here in the women?
Chris typically doesn't have too much of a problem with those vertical nunchucks, so
Yeah,
she might have to retry, but I bet she'll be okay.
Nice.
Come on, Connor.
So picture in picture,
Yeah.
this is our young lad. Nice, really nice.
Looks strong. You can see he used the
Really
blue
nice.
nunchuck to get did a
Good job.
swing and then skipped it. So that's a nice way to do it if you don't
That's a
put
really
all
nice
of your
technique.
weight on it. So I'd like to see the ladies do that. And then here we have Ashton Abraham. He's on he's my teammate on the Mudgear Hannibal Race Pro team.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's obstacle proficient, so I don't expect any problems here. Strong.
So in the picture-in-picture, we've got the women there. We did see Alex Walker go through on Lumberjack Lane probably about quite a while before we saw Jamie, and then Jamie was quickly followed by Chris Rogoski in third place still. But Alex has a good lead, which will hopefully do her well when she gets to that rig over water, because that looks like it's going to be a tricky one. And after what happened in the last race, it could be playing on her mind, the kind of the rig, the wet hands,
Yeah.
the water.
We saw one other male athlete fell in the water.
You got this.
Got a Robbie G sighting again.
Picture-in-picture again, we just saw Ryan. There we go. Oh, and there we can hear a lot of supporters cheering them. He's going over Colossus here, which is obstacle 18. We missed out Tree Hugger, which can be a bit tricky in the wet, especially for the women, because of the size of it. I mean, Ryan there, making that just look like a walk in the park, and it's not.
Yeah.
But so easy, so smooth, so strong.
No. You can
Come
still
on.
make it up.
Nice.
You got this.
Oh, that rope.
Yeah, there you
Please
go.
somebody untie that.
Nice. Yep.
It's quite a split field. It makes it very difficult for the rabbits and the producers to kind of know where to go, because with the amount of cameras that we have, it's hard to cover everyone when they're so split up. You know, we've got Alex leading currently and Ryan leading. And if we follow Ryan, which here he is, we're kind of missing out on Sean and Rylan.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out. That lady we saw picking up the log in the all black was Sarah Tucker. She's a strong, solid athlete too. We haven't mentioned her previously, but she has really good grip strength. She's done well at like Indian Mud Run and other such grip intensive obstacle races. So looks like she's in that top bunch. So she's doing well.
This rabbit really working hard, keeping up with Ryan. It really kind of, when you do rabbit, it puts a perspective on how fast these athletes go. Because, I mean, I can keep up with them for maybe 30 seconds, you know, full power legs.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, God, that's really difficult. And these guys are doing it for like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. Just really strong. I'm always in absolute awe of what all these athletes can do.
Yes, I would much rather be in a gator to rabbit.
I'd rather be here with the microphone.
Oh, yes. Dry.
Back to Lumberjack Lane. We don't have eyes on the women at the moment, but I think our rabbits are out looking for them.
Crossing lane. That's on. Oh, that's Marquez, I think.
Colossus. So this should be the men
Marquez green. And
up here.
Nathan green. This brother's here.
The monkey bar one is Sawtooth. Colossus is the big
that Sawtooth?
slide.
Apologies.
I feel like we just got a wave in the camera from the other green brother, possibly.
Well, I heard on the camera the rabbit saying Marquez Green and his brother's here today as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think he has an injury, so he's probably sitting out.
Yeah, it's good he's here supporting. I think we need to put trackers on athletes so we know where they are and we can watch them running around.
Yeah, I've had the idea like wish list, like they have the live race results. I would love to see some sort of marker in the middle of the course or something. I'm
It
gonna
would be
try to
really,
get
I
a
mean,
gap on them here. Okay, so I've got the timer going. Kempson just came in.
nice. So this is obstacle 23. Really, really close to the end. I mean, we've got a few more obstacles that are very close together.
You can see Kempson took his time there to set up, and then had a solid
Here we go.
throw. So I feel like that was worth it.
Sean going through there. Oh, that was shelf help.
Yep.
So he's at obstacle 22, and Ryan is just past
Yeah.
obstacle
So
23, with Rylan coming in,
yeah.
15 seconds behind, if that.
There you go.
Oof.
Oh, she's a beaut. There you go, boss.
It always surprises me that they can use their feet. Oh, Sean missed it on sling ring. Come on, Rylan.
That.
Catch up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man.
Oh wow, he's struggling there.
Not step over the bar.
There.
I mean, he broke it, but
I'm gonna
I
count
guess
that
that's
as
still
good.
okay.
Yeah.
It's stuck. So Rylan's got a little bit of a gap has been closed there with the issues that Sean had. Nice, go run! Come on, Rylan.
Beauty.
So Rylan came in 1 minute behind Kempson. So that is a sizable lead. I think Sean was maybe 30 seconds behind, but then he lost a lot of time there. Yeah, that obstacle is just a little bit awkward, which can make it difficult to set up and do your throw.
I mean, in the races so far, Ryan has had race number 1. He had like a 2-minute lead by the finish above Sean. So he's normally finishing with a 1 or 2 minute lead when he is, in first place. And there we go. That was Alex Walker.
Yeah,
there's
she's
Jamie
still in the
just on the other
lead,
side.
controlling this race.
So behind Jamie is not Chris. So whether Chris has overtaken her or she's dropped back to 4th. So one of the comments, the rabbit cut the corner to keep up with Kempson and still fell behind. It's not a criticism of the rabbit at all. That is a comment on how fast these athletes are running.
Yeah.
These athletes are insane. They absolutely are.
Yes, I did intervals yesterday, and I did one 20-second interval at a 5-minute pace, and I think I almost died. And that was just 20 seconds. Here we're into Wrecking Wall.
5 for women. Alexandra Walker in first place. Second place, Jamie Horanopoulos. And third place is Casey Monroe. So we don't have eyes on where Chris is yet, but she is not in the top 3 currently, which is, quite unusual for her here at Savage.
It is. Something happened. Sean caught Kempson. And now we have all top 3 guys on the ring. Kempson must have fell off and had to retry. Top 3 guys are all right here.
And we're really close to the end here, aren't we?
See, those poles are probably so slick. Sean did good. He transitioned quickly to a ring. Oh, he's going to make it through first. Oh, he's going to sprint.
Gosh.
This is the final obstacle.
This is the final straight. We are right at the end. Obstacle 28.
Gosh.
This is big ass cargo, and it's just from here to the finish
Look
line.
Look at that dive.
Guys, this is a finish line.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, come on, run.
Sprint finish.
Oh, Sean.
Who's going to get it?
That is incredible. Ryan, I hope he's okay there. He slipped at the end on the finish map, but that was an incredible finish. It was so close, and Ryan was leading so strong throughout that whole race. To be overtaken on the last 2 obstacles, that was absolutely beautiful.
Oh my gosh. That is the kind of we just dream of.
It absolutely is. And we have Rylan still on the rig.
Oh man.
Oh no.
So that is the exact
tired.
thing that they had last week in Ohio, or a couple weeks ago. That wooden board right there is just so wet. It's really hard to grip.
That doesn't look like the trickiest thing in the world, that board. I wouldn't look at that and be like, that's going to be really difficult. I'd be thinking the pole.
Don't let it get in your head.
Rylan looks tired here. He's really strong, but he has kept up with two incredibly strong athletes throughout this race, and he looks like he doesn't have a lot left in the tank. And this must be really difficult psychologically to have been together on this rig, and those two have left, and to know that you could lose third if you don't get across. Come on, Rylan.
Yeah, but he has a good gap. He's got some time. I feel like he looks like he's just trying to take his time.
He looks a little annoyed, which is absolutely understandable, frustrated.
Yeah, he's not used to falling off of rigs.
No. He's been doing less running,
Ours
but
love
he's
you,
been doing a
Rachel.
lot of strength work. So he should, but maybe the lack of running, because of the injury, has kind of really taken it out of him. And you know that when you're really
there
pushing
you go.
yourself, grip goes, hand strength goes, even if you've got it. That was Jamie.
Jamie's looking strong. Chris and Alex was in the lead, and honestly, this is what Alex needs. Alex is only 2 points away from Jamie on the point series right now, so if Jamie beats her by 2 placement, they'll be tied. And then Chris is not in the top 3, which Alex, I think, is 6 points away from Chris. Let me check that.
She is. Chris is on 400 points. Alex is on 394 points.
Yeah,
I kind of
so
came into
not
this race
only
going, well, if Chris gets top 3, she's winning the series, but
yeah. So, but not only does Chris need to win this race, or Alex, I'm sorry, Alex needs to win, but she also needs Chris far enough back in the placements that there is a substantial amount of points gained on her. So if it was to be Alex and then Chris first and second place, that only makes up for 1 point. But if Chris finishes in like 5th or 6th place, then that really closes the gap, and Alex is going to be back in contention for the lead placement in the series.
mm-hmm.
And we saw athlete Connor Lindsley going through the rig. That young guy, he looked like he didn't really have a problem with it. I think he's out of Grit Fitness, so that doesn't surprise me. He's nice grip athlete. And Rylan is still there, man.
Oh gosh, so there we go. That's Ian. Is that, oh sorry. Yeah, no, sorry, it's the young guy. And Rylan has lost his 3rd place. Wow, okay. He was right up there at the start, at the beginning of the race, and we were commenting on how strong his legs were. Oh, my heart goes out to Rylan.
Is this 3rd place finish, or did we already see 3rd go through?
I think it's 3rd place. Let me check.
That's what I meant. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's...
Oh, really?
He was 3rd.
Well, either way, I'm gonna get some.
Wow.
Over here. And I want to make sure there's a lane so she doesn't have a bad moment.
Connor Lindsay, young athlete, taking that 3rd place podium spot. That is just insane.
We got the first one coming right now.
We've still got Rylan going through on this rig.
Over whoever's here,
And
they get it first.
the more you try, the harder it gets.
It really does. And Rylan needs the points, so he can't just give up. He needs to just keep battling. Oh, actually, Rylan isn't in the series.
No. So, here we go for the women. Alex on give and take.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that give and take? No, anchors away.
Anchors away.
Really strong.
Good job,
really
Alex.
strong. Alex is running an incredible race today.
Okay, so you may want to stand on that side, and so like Jamie. Guys, we need to make sure that the female pros have a lane.
I appreciate that so much.
Reserve those first 3 lanes for them. Okay,
Alex coming up.
she
Jamie
needs
coming in 2nd.
Yeah, this is not great that she had to hunt down a pair of rings just to do the obstacle.
No. I mean, it's nice to hear the marshal saying keep these lanes free for the women, which they shouldn't really have to. But yeah, it should have been ready for her. I
Yeah,
will
that was
keep
a
going on about this until I see women getting the same fair opportunity to race on obstacles as the guys do.
yeah, and I'm not sure who that is coming in third place.
But
I
that was
didn't
Chris
recognize.
just getting up to the rig in fourth, but about to start at the same time as third. I don't know what
Yes.
the delay in starting there was, whether it was again having to hunt down the rings, but third place got to the rig really early and didn't start until after Jamie had left.
So on that obstacle, there was a 55-second gap between Alex and Jamie. So Alex has
Wow.
a sizable lead right now.
But what have we just seen happening in that rig with Rylan? Like literally, and Sean
Yes.
and Ryan, like everything can change on one obstacle.
I thought that was a volunteer. It's not. Never mind.
There you go.
So we've got in the picture, we've got the rig.
Tom? I got lucky on this side, I think. Oh, there's Alex.
Is
Okay.
Rylan still on that rig or is he finished?
Oh shit. Get down there. I gotta make sure that somebody let her through. Let me get the volunteers over here. All right.
Here we have the ladies maybe on rig over water, or are they already through? So I wouldn't be surprised
Can
if
you
rig
stay
over
on
water
that side and make sure as women come up, they get a lane?
was causing an issue, or could cause an issue for the ladies, but we'll see. Ooh,
Excuse me.
I'm going to
Sorry.
give a big thank you to our rabbit Rachel for keep shouting out for the women getting
there,
laid.
yeah. There goes Alex.
Hey guys,
Come
let's
on,
leave this
Alex.
first lane
She needs a
open for the women
clean
pro that are
run.
coming up. Right now, Jamie's coming up right now. Thank you. Hey, can you pick a different lane when you come up?
Get out
Thank
the
you.
way.
Yeah. Well, he's fine. He's fine. You just leave this one open. Thank you.
And you can see this race, Alex opted for some gloves,
I'm
which
not
she
getting a good
doesn't
video
do
here.
all the time.
Gloves kind of go in and out of fashion in OCR. A few years ago, like 2016, they were all the rage and then people went off them. But when it's so wet,
Yeah.
they can really help.
Can't get a good
You know,
video.
especially if they're... She's doing really well. Oh, and she's in the
Oh,
water.
she swung on there for a long time, and I think she maybe made the
Yeah.
decision to drop in to start over, and because she was almost swinging a little
First
bit
two lanes
crooked.
are open for the women.
There's
Ja-
Chris.
That
and
second
I think
Jamie's
Jamie
past.
must have fallen
Jamie's...
the
in.
ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And here
coming
comes
back.
Chris. Is this where Chris takes a bit of a lead? It'd be really nice to see, rather than the rabbits having to tell people where to go, if after like the top 10 men had gone through, they just barrier off 3 lanes for the women and just make it clear that no one goes through that at the risk of disqualification.
Oh man,
Oh, this
I
picture,
really
this
wish
is where we really want to be seeing what's going on.
I know.
Okay.
Restart what?
Where's Chris? What happened to Chris?
I think Chris made it through. Jamie fell in again. Alex fell in again. Here's Casey
And is that
Monroe.
Casey?
Come on, Kate.
Oh,
Guys, these first two lanes are ladies.
Yeah, Chris has had to have made it through because I don't see her.
Hey, that
Yep,
third
there she
one
is.
there she is.
Picture in picture. She's made it through. So she was in fourth, we think. She wasn't in the top 3, so we can assume she was in fourth place at one point, and now she has a really good head start in first.
Yeah, Alex just fell in on her backswing, which seems kind of painful.
Wow, Jamie is really going for it. She is really going for that. Is she going for a full... Oh, gosh.
It's all right.
She-
It's all right.
I think she really wanted to get a really high grip on that, or she was trying to
Yeah.
skip it.
Hey,
So I see somebody in the comments called out Sarah Grippy Snyder. I'm not did we see her? Was she the one that was in third going into Anchors Away? That might have been.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And now Chris is just going to run away with it while the ladies have a tough time on the grip over water.
It seems that way. I mean, it just goes to show that someone made a comment the other week that you're never going to lose a race by being a bad runner, a good runner. Basically, good running is always going to stand you in good stead. But what we're seeing is you've really, really got to keep working on that grip and strength for the obstacles because,
oh, come on.
Oh, come
this
on.
is what she needs. Come on, Alex. Yes.
She needs to get a bit higher on that rope.
So
Just a
close.
little
Yeah.
bit. Oh, so
But
close.
now
It was good, though.
she can do that if she needs to.
Almost.
I mean, these women are strong. You can see how strong they are. This is a tough rig. And here comes Chris.
Getting stuck in, it's too hard.
See, Chris ran her own race. She didn't let anybody dictate her pace, and it's paying off.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what her finish time is compared to others because it appeared she was going slower today, but maybe it was just everyone else was going faster and she just carried on. Whee!
Getting out of Colossus is always a little tricky to me. It can be a little slick, but she made it
Did
look
that
easy.
work, Jason?
Come on, Jamie.
Come on, Jamie. Oof. This is
And that rope, you
frustrating.
can't just get it to swing because that... Come on.
Jamie's very tall, so she's got that kind of span to be able to reach and grab the rope.
Yeah.
What happens if someone can't do an obstacle?
You can drop your band, but then you're no longer in contention for podium or age group awards.
So it's mandatory completion.
Yes. Here we have Julie Harches making it to the rig. Last year, Julie finished in second place because women got hung up on the rigs.
So this would be
So I
interesting
wouldn't,
to see.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she made it through. Okay, this might be the athlete that somebody called out as Sarah Grippy Snyder, maybe? She looks strong.
I haven't missed any
Really
women,
strong.
Good.
So just looking at the... Oh, we're hearing that she may have got through, which has, if so, has completely changed the women's race. Just looking at the men's results here, Ryland didn't come in the top 10, so I'm not quite sure how long he got stuck at that obstacle. But we had in first place Sean Roberts, followed by Ryan Kempson, and in third was Noah Busher. Robbie Gingerich in fourth, Marquez Green in fifth.
Ryland probably still doing.
So I think that Noah, who finished in third place, I think he might have been the athlete I was calling Connor Lindsay, because
Yes.
that gentleman is also 18. So I apologize.
18.
Sorry,
There you
Noah.
go, Jamie.
It's fantastic when athletes kind of come in and do something unexpected, but if we're not prepared for it, it feels really bad if we're not giving them the recognition. Here we go, Sawtooth. Chris going through just as strong as Ryan was. Slow, steady, well not slow, steady, consistent, strong, taking her time.
Okay.
She's got a really strong lead on the rest of the women.
You can see Chris is looking reluctant coming down. When it's wet, it can be so hard. And you don't want to be too aggressive on your dismount there because if you fall back into the water, it counts as a failure and you have to retry.
She looked strong and steady there.
So I think that was Sarah Grippy Snyder that made it through the rig when it kind of lagged out for a second, and she had kind of pulled up high on the obstacle. Right now she's sitting in 5th place for the series, so if she is able to finish all the way through, that's going to be a strong finish for her.
There you go.
We see
Jamie
Jamie,
is
so she
through.
must have made it through. Awesome.
Yeah, Sarah's been doing well. She was 6th in Georgia. She was 10th
That was Sarah
Gainesville.
Tucker. Sorry.
Right. This women's,
Sorry,
I
Francesca,
mean,
go
both of the
ahead.
women's and oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I was just saying Sarah Grippy Snyder, who we mentioned, has been doing well. She's raced all the events so far, and she's been in the top 10 of all of them. And yeah, a bit like Ian Hozek, kind of showing up, performing consistently. We might not be seeing top 3, but we're seeing consistent performances, and you know, those pay off.
So I think the placement right now for the ladies is first is Chris. Second, I believe, is Sarah Grippy Snyder. Third looks like Jamie Horianopoulos. And then we're watching 4th place here on the screen, Sarah Tucker.
Nice. I really want Alex to get through that rig. If she's not already, I want it to happen quickly. She had such a fantastic race.
They just go to bag check and back. Sean took care of it. So there was a second place that got through that we didn't see get through. There was another second place. Jamie's in 3rd. I guess a different Sarah is what they're saying. I didn't see another woman get through, so that's my bad.
So I need to try to catch up.
Yeah.
We've got a 20-second
follow
gap
Jamie.
between Jamie and
Seems
Sarah
like
Tucker.
The race is gonna be.
But we still have that big obstacle, the big rig, to go, which is the one that really trips, you know, a lot of male athletes up, including Rylan. And that's right at the end. I mean, that was a fantastic finish. Sorry, just to go back to that, between Sean and Ryan, that was such an incredible finish.
It really was. Not even a second separates them on the timing. It's just milliseconds.
Yeah, probably do, but they have over 100 people here today. Yeah.
A comment on the chat: perhaps let the pro women start before the men. I would be totally down for that. And there's always fewer women than there are men.
I see Chris is coming into that final rig.
Past where? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's shelf help. She's having trouble
22.
deciding which lane to use, but she's got the time.
How's it going?
I do really, really enjoy kind of Chris's cool confidence when she's racing. Even though she's pushing so hard and you know she's going so fast and she's really working, she always looks very calm and collected. She has a very good kind of exterior.
Chris entering sling ring. Hopefully she can get it first try.
So someone in the comments is asking on 4th to 7th for the men. So yes, so just to give you an update on the top 10 for the men, it was Sean Robertson first place, followed by Ryan Kempson, literally milliseconds behind. Third place was Noah Busher. Fourth was Robbie Gingerich. Fifth, Marquez Green. Sixth was Gage Hicks. Seventh, Ryan Seffert. Eighth, John Pless. Number 9 was Abraham Ashton. 10th was Sam Osborne. Jamie looking really strong there.
What just happened?
Oh my god. There you go.
Apologies on number 9 is Ashton Abraham. the names are mixed up on the results, but it's Ashton Abraham, not Abraham Ashton.
Jamie looked a little nervous going through Sawtooth. She chicken winged at the top, but I've also done that technique before. Those bars in the middle, when you're transitioning through that highest vertical peak, are thicker than the other ones, which make them a little harder to grip with a, because you can't get like a fully closed hand around it. So sometimes when it is wet, I'll opt for that chicken wing technique just through the top as well. And then also that gives you a little bit of that higher, so you can reach a little easier. Here we see Sarah Tucker going through. She just looks strong, but she's got good obstacle proficiency, so that doesn't surprise me.
Seeing how strong these women are going through on this obstacle, which we know is difficult, kind of highlights how tricky that rig over water actually was.
Good job,
Yeah.
good job.
Someone's asking if Jamie is second or third. We think she's third. As the last we were aware, it was Chris with a big lead ahead, followed by Sarah Grippy Snyder, followed by Jamie Hornopoulos.
I heard Jessica talking a little bit ago that they weren't sure. They didn't see a second place lady go through. So now I'm not super confident on that, especially because they haven't been able to track her down yet. So
Okay. So we're not
Kinda-
entirely sure if Jamie is second or third, but we do
Yeah.
know that, wow, Chris is going through that really nicely. Chris has got a big, strong lead.
you can see she is.
Skipping that by.
Oh,
I caught.
you can
So a
see
few
she was
people
taking that
commented
technique,
that it's
Oh,
trying
I'm
to
so
squeeze her legs
sorry.
around it, which is really what you have to do. You have to squeeze so tight to keep it to stay on there. She's right back in.
if you
Plenty of time.
there were
Chris.
comments that it's that bar there with the silver bit on that's really kind of making it tricky.
Oh, you're perfect. You're fine. You do
Look
you.
at that gentleman
You're perfect.
is
You go, you got it.
handling
Got
it
it.
really nicely.
What was it? Who? Yes, yeah.
It's hard enough for these guys
Yeah.
already with the
Oh,
Oh,
Love it.
Chris. We don't often see Chris struggle on obstacles.
Yeah, Chris.
You got it, bro. Keep it up. Keep it up.
hey Jessica, can you tell us if it's still raining there?
You got it, bro. Keep going. Almost there.
I feel like it looks like the rain has
It
subsided.
is not raining anymore, but it's still, all the obstacles are still pretty damp, but they're drying off.
Come on.
Woo, good job.
So we're not seeing someone in between Chris and Jamie. We kind of lost the camera a little bit when they were going through that rig, and we thought we saw Sarah Grippy Snyder go through, but from what we're seeing now, it does look like Jamie's in second place.
Good job, Chris. Good job.
I wish she
So
would
far,
chicken wing that
Jamie's-
ring.
Yeah. So far, Jamie's
Oh,
finished
she's-
consistently in third place. So this would be her highest finish.
Good job, Chris.
Well done, Chris. Yeah, if she can hold on to it when she gets to that rig.
Good job.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, nice finish for Chris, maintaining her undefeated in the Savage Race Series, taking first place yet again for race number 5 in the series at Chicago.
It's pretty amazing for her to hold on to it. She didn't need it to place, to be winning the series, but it's really nice for her to have it.
Yeah, I'm thinking we were mistaken before, and this must be Jamie must be in second place right here. Quite a few people keep doing that, kind of holding it up and then it falling on their head. That was a good technique. I like how she used her foot on the bar at the bottom to help maintain her balance and to prevent her from falling over the line. That's a nice strategy.
Hey, I'm saving this first lane for. Thanks, babe.
I'm loving that. So this is a fast course. I'm kind of an in-between course. But pretty fast for Chris and for the men. I guess with it being so flat. It's tricky because it's so flat, but the obstacles have not been straightforward.
Looks like Ryland's name is on the results now. He finished in 15th. So he did get through the rig.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, just saw someone asking for 10th onwards.
All right, so Jess is on Jamie, so let's stay on Sarah. It looks like Jess is on Jamie. There's video of Jamie.
Nice job. Nice job.
I think we're going to have a battle for second place. But we'll see. Jamie's also very obstacle proficient, so she might get through first try.
Someone in the comments was asking about results for the men 10 to 15, so just to update that. Number 11. Does something just change there? Sam Osborne,
Yeah.
Jesse Beam, Pavel Polosmiak, Freddie Thompson, and Ryland Shadeg.
So I noticed the
Ryland came in
change
at 54. So
yeah, the change I noticed is
There you go.
Chris went into 9th place, so she pushed some of the guys down.
Oh, you're
Oh,
up.
I'm looking just at the men. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's incredible that she came in 9th.
There you go.
Follow me for more possible tips.
This has been taking names all day, so
Oh, don't
Take
tell
your
her that
time
going
on it.
in.
get really high on the cheese board.
Come on, Jamie. We've seen Jamie be really, really strong today. She's got a really good long wingspan.
So if
Chris
Jamie
kept
can
really
make
high
it
on that
through,
board.
she did, yeah. If Jamie can make it through and Alex is a few placements behind, she can close that gap and become second in the series.
That is very cool. Oh, she's looking so strong here. Now, is that tape meant to help or hinder?
Oh, textbook.
I'm
Textbook.
Beautiful,
not sure.
beautiful. She's going through this
yeah.
incredibly well. Jamie, beautiful. I mean, aside
No
from first
issues
and
whatsoever.
second, that's one of the nicest executions of that obstacle that we've seen.
Yeah.
That was lovely. Woo! Jamie, that was fantastic. That was
All
another
right,
just
Jamie.
a really strong and steady performance from Jamie. She went like Chris, like you said about Chris. Chris ran her own race. Jamie was strong and consistent, and she just kind of kept going and powered on as if there was
There you go.
no one around her.
Yeah. So Jamie and Horianopolis taking second place in this 5th race of the series. which is a great placement for her. So far, Jamie has finished third in every series race that we've had so far. So that's nice for her to get that increase in points and that increase in placement. I'm sure she's ecstatic about that finish.
Incredibly. Like, that was really nice. And it is really nice to see these kind of battles happen, like we saw with the men. It's nice to see things changing up with the women. I always say this, it's really difficult because there are athletes that you support, but I kind of support them all. So when someone's doing well, I'm like, yes, you're doing really well. Someone's overtaking, I'm like, yes, you're overtaking. But to see changes happening, and especially on the course, it's what makes it really, really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Now we have Sarah Tucker
that
currently
women
in third
get an open
place,
lane, women pro get an open
coming
lane.
into
Yeah,
the final rig.
this is top 3 now, I think.
I hope she gets the same advice that Jamie got to stay high.
Go, guys.
Yeah, that being high seemed to make a
Stay high, guys, stay
huge
high.
difference. She's got no.
Go, guys. Keep it up.
Do it again.
I
But
could
stay
see
high.
her looking upward, so I think that she already figured it out that she needs to go up.
What?
Are you allowed to touch the top of that long bar? Are there any rules about that?
On the top of the cheese board?
No, the vertical hanging bar, the thin one that everyone has the problems on.
I believe it's legal for Savage, yes.
Get higher, climb up.
There you go. There you
So
go.
yeah, you can see there's a carabiner at the top there. I think as long as she doesn't grab
Yeah.
that or the strap itself, then she's okay.
Oh.
Ooh, that
No.
I can't
She
believe
kind
she
of
stayed
rushed
on
that.
there.
She
She did,
rushed
but if she
that
can
getting
get that
on.
ring,
She
oh,
can't. Oh, she can feel the frustration. At this
I
point, you kind of
see.
need to balance between taking a breath and controlling yourself, and the fear of who's coming up behind me. Because the more, like we know, the more tries you take, the harder it gets.
Yeah. We've got a Rachel Waters sighting. She made it through the rig over water. Right now, Rachel is in 4th place in the series. So this will be really good for her point-wise as well. And 3rd place is still up for grabs. So Rachel could have a really solid finish.
The women's race has seen so many changes happening.
Nice.
I kind of like this. It's like I'm walking to the obstacle. I don't need to run here because this obstacle is what's going to be doing it. It's not the running.
Yep. But Sarah is still on the obstacle right now, and if she waits too long, 3rd place could be out of grasp if Sarah makes it through on this try. But she looked like
True.
she took a right amount of time. Like she walked into it to catch her breath, but she
I think she's doing the
got
right
on.
thing.
Yeah.
Knowing how difficult this obstacle is, she's doing the right thing. And, you know, her coming up to the obstacle can throw someone else off. Like, you know, if I don't make it through, I could lose it.
So I saw on another camera that Sarah made it all the way to the end on the final ring, but I think she missed the bell.
That's so frustrating.
Oh yeah, there I saw Sarah going back.
Oh no, the heartbreak.
You got it, Sarah. You got it.
So awesome finish for Rachel, finishing 3rd in race number 5.
She's been doing well. She's been finishing steadily at 5th in every race so far. She's finished 5th, so she's really pulled it up in this event. And she's currently 4th on the leaderboard, so that's going to take her up as well.
Take a second. You're good. I don't see anyone else behind you. I get it. This decided the men's race too. First, second, third. It was rough. You know what to do.
Do you think part of the placement of where this obstacle is in so close to the end can make an impact on how people perform on it?
Yes. So, I mean, especially some of these women had to retry the rig over water, which can blow out your grip, and then you've got another one. Now, there's a little gap between those two, so that's good. But you also may be thinking, I'm near the finish, so you may get your heart rate up in the running because you're, you know it's almost over, so you're coming into it a little faster.
You also know you don't have time to make it.
Now
Now she knows
now
that
she's
she can
got
do
it.
this
Come on.
because she has done this already. So there's the belief there that she can do
Oh.
Oh, my heart breaks.
I really just want to see people chicken wing. Like, once you've made it that far, just go the easy route on those rings.
You're good.
The next one's going to do it. I'm feeling it. She's going to get it.
I hope so.
I wonder if we still have all the rest of the ladies stuck at the rig over water.
No idea. See, this is where we mentioned it earlier, timing mats throughout the course. Oh, they make such a difference. I mean, the problem is from a race direction point of view, they cost so much money, but they make such a difference for coverage, for supporting, you know, to know, oh, this person has passed at this time. But they can be prohibitive at times.
Yeah, it also, I wonder how much benefit it would be when one single obstacle can make a difference in the placement. So even if you had a timing mat or a couple of them throughout the course, things can change so drastically. Like here, rig over water, if you had a timing mat right before that or right after, it might look like there's these big or small gaps that kind of become untrue or irrelevant almost immediately.
Same thing as last time.
Yeah, true. I mean, if you had it after it, you would kind of know at least who's passed. I suppose they might have an idea. You mentioned rig over water at the start. Like you said, this could be something that causes problems for people. That was one of your kind of pullouts. And yeah, it has. So at least you would know whether people had passed or not. But again, it's not possible really.
You're not gripping anything
Yeah,
right
I don't think
rest.
it's,
You're
like
good.
you said, it's just not worth the money that you have to put into it.
Mm.
And we see another lady make it in. I wonder if she still has her band. Sometimes we have this problem through the course that you may have some of the 5K racers start coming in, but she looks strong. I bet she's still got her band. Not sure who that is.
Yep. Yep. Big swing.
Come on, come on, come on. Easy, easy.
Come on, Sarah.
Yes.
Yep. Nice.
Amazing. Oh.
And I feel like she's a little nervous because another girl caught up to her there. Oh, and they're both on the net at the same time.
It's tight. It's tight.
Come on, Sarah.
Come on. Come on.
Gotta
I don't know
go.
who this girl is, but I don't want Sarah to lose it at this point after all of that. Run.
Can we get
Run.
a name on 5th place? She's got it. She's got it. She look at strong.
She's so strong. Oh, incredible. What a battle there.
Nice job.
She ran a great race. I mean, she got stuck there, but she ran. All right, let's take a look at the men's leaderboard now. We've seen the women come through as far as we can. Okie dokie, so this is the updated, no, this is the Pro Top 10. Coming in first place was Sean Roberts, followed by Ryan Kempson. I mean, it looks like there's no time difference, but we know there was milliseconds between them, and it was a picture finish between the two.
Betcha.
Sean Roberts, followed by Ryan Kempson.
There's only that one.
Number third was the 18-year-old, the young guy coming in, Noah Busher. at 42.29, so not massively far behind considering the battles that were had out
I
there.
have to live.
Number 4th, Robbie
Oh, okay.
Gingerich.
There was a great battle for
5th, Marquez Green. 6th, Gage Hicks. Number 7 was Ryan Seffert. John Pless was coming in at number 8. Number 9 is Ashton Abraham, and number 10 is Sam Osborne. A difference of just over 13 minutes between 1st and 10th place, which is less than we've seen in some races, actually. We've seen bigger gaps in the top 10. We have seen smaller gaps, but I would have expected bigger in the top 10 considering how tough some of those obstacles were and how much some people got stuck there.
Yeah, I agree.
As soon as we get an update on the women, we will bring you those results. But I mean, that was a battle for the women, wasn't it? I'm never going to stop going on about that finish line between the top 2 men, but for the women, those 2 rigs really caused a few problems.
Yeah, they really did. So we saw the same thing at the Savage Race Chicago course last year, where quite a few women got caught up on the rig over water, as well as that final rig there, where those 2 obstacles themselves made the difference. So last year in the Savage Race series, the rigs were really dulled down. They didn't want a lot of DNFs. So I really appreciate from Savage Race that they're bringing their hard rigs to these series races, because honestly, that is what interested me in Savage Race and in the series, is that they are known for that. So I'm really glad to see that they're bringing that back for the series. So
I
it's
think it's
really
always
exciting.
really interesting to see the balance between tough rigs and impossible rigs. Now,
Yeah.
I don't appreciate impossible rigs that take everyone out and have people battling for hours. I don't think that's a fun part of the sport, but I also don't want to see it be a running race with a few hurdles thrown in. And this was a really nice balance of completely changing up the field, really, really testing people. But the very strongest athletes managed it. I mean, we did see Chris do a couple of retries, but really those strong athletes made it through. Now, we don't know what happened with Ryan and Sean, because Ryan had a huge, huge lead. And then all of a sudden, when it came to that final rig, they were neck and neck, Sean, Ryan, and then Ryland came up in 3rd as well. So it'd be interesting to find out what happened there.
Yeah,
It could have been that he...
Yeah, I think Ryan probably had to restart the rig. We didn't see that on camera, so we can't say for sure, but that's kind of my hunch, because that seems about the right amount of timing gap between them. Because I don't remember there being any other obstacles since the last time that we saw him in the lead.
There shouldn't have been anything that caused any problems, because we saw him going through shelf help really easily and he had a good lead, and that was obstacle 22. And yeah, nothing else that should have really caused any problems for him. So it could have been there. And this is the difficulty as well. When an athlete has such a big lead, it's hard to see everyone. We mentioned that earlier on in the coverage, like to kind of lose people. It's hard to see where people are placing when they have such a lead, but it would make sense that he had to retry, which kind of makes that even more exciting, that battle between him and Sean on the obstacle, if he'd already failed it once.
Yeah, so what excites me about that kind of race where it comes down to the obstacle is you see a lot more interesting or fun techniques where people are desperate and they might be skipping holds or rushing it, which can lead to mistakes, but it also can lead some like really satisfying finishes if you were a little more aggressive on it to close that gap. So we saw on that final cargo net, even, normally that's just kind of an obstacle. You go through it, you try to be quick, but Sean and Ryan really like leaped over that thing. Ryan like dove down. So that was really fun to see, because you don't you don't typically see a technique like that to be that aggressive on a cargo net.
No.
So that was really
normally
fun
those
to
kind
see.
of final obstacles, the cargo net, the walls, they're kind of there for just like a little bit of a slowdown before the finish line. I've very rarely seen that kind of battle happening there. We saw something really nice last year at the Spartan Euro Champs where there was like a photo finish battle, but it was not kind of coming down to the wire on the obstacles like it was today. And it's good, because those kind of obstacles can just be a bit like, oh, it exists. But in that case, like you said, it wasn't. It was an obstacle, and that could have been something that was a pass or fail for someone.
Yeah, for sure.
And just, I mean, a shout out for Jamie. She did such an amazing job on that final rig. She went through so strong. It was really beautiful to see. Like, hopefully when she watches that back, she kind of gets a little bit of a thrill of accomplishment, seeing just how well she went through that rig.
Yeah, for sure.
So here we have a discount, 25% off. It expires, oh, this is American dates. It expires on the 21st of the 7th. So this will get you 25% off Chicago in July. So use it. I mean, I'm loving the look of these races, and I would absolutely love to give one a go if I ever get over to the States. So with 25% off, make the most of it.
Yeah, so that code there was CHI23.
So also let's take a quick mention about our Patreon. This coverage is brought to you by the OCR report. We are funded by Patreons, and we could really do with your help. This is a lot of work for everyone to put on, the rabbits, the producers at home. There's so much goes into this. If you do become a Patreon member, we can continue to put out coverage consistently. We are covering so many races and so many events, but it's not easy, and there are so many benefits if you do join. So have a look, go see our Instagram page, and I was going back in time 10 years there. Go check out our Instagram page and find out about our Patreon, and help us continue to bring this coverage to you, because we love being able to get the sport out there, and we love having you follow it and follow the amazing athletes. So this was race number 5 of 7. So we already have people having done their 5 races. We have 2 left to go. The final event in Florida Fall is mandatory. And between that, we have October 7th, Dallas. That is the same weekend. We have discussed this before. That's the same weekend as OCRWC. So that will be interesting to see who turns up there and who turns up to other events. But so far, we've had Georgia Spring, Gainesville, Maryland, Ohio, and today with Chicago. Just 2 events left in the series. I remember when this series started and it was number 1. And now we're nearly at the end, and we've seen some incredible races and some incredible battles. But it's going to be, I mean, after today, it's going to get super exciting. I wonder if we have an updated men's leaderboard. We won't have a women's one yet because the women haven't come through, but I wonder if we can see what the men are currently in the standings.
So I will be at that next race in Dallas. So I hope, Francesca, if you're on the live coverage, you'll mention me. I'll be somewhere towards the middle of the field. I will not be a front runner. But
Well,
I always hope for a course like today. So today we saw it was rainy, it was wet. That made a big difference in that rig over water and the final rig. That is what I dream of, to be honest, because those are the races where I come through kind of like a Sarah Tucker, where I might not be the strongest runner, but I'm able to make up ground there on the obstacles. So that's why I always appreciate the hard rigs at Savage, because that's where I can make up ground. Typically, I'm able to get through on like a first try, and it might take others a couple more. So that's where I like to close my gap. I kind of have a strategy to kind of go in, run my own race a little bit relaxed, because I'm already not fast, and then just kind of kick it into gear after the rig. So I'm really looking forward to that next race.
Well, I will be at OCRWC for that Dallas event. So unless we can somehow make the timings work so that we can kind of do on-site coverage from OCRWC of Savage, that's a shame, because I'd love to give you a shout out, and I'd love to be supporting you whilst you're doing that race. So as someone who's going to be taking part in it, that's going to be October 7th. What are you expecting to see at Dallas?
Dallas is typically a fairly flat course, but they work in a couple of smaller hills, but it's not going to be anything nearly like Ohio. And then traditionally, the weather has been kind of hit or miss, where some years we've had like 95 degrees and sunny, and other years we've had a couple years where it has been a very rainy course. So there was a few years ago, I actually won because there were only 2 women to finish all the obstacles, because it was a wet, rainy day, kind of like we saw today in Chicago. So, but
And how are
typically
the
the
obstacles? Because
obstacles are.
you did mention that they kind of scaled their obstacles back last year, and then they've brought them kind of up a bit harder this year. Were the obstacles that year really particularly difficult, and how would they compare to what we saw today?
So I think Chicago is one of those rare races where they have that rig over water. So I think the reason they're able to do that is because they come back to the same venue every year. So they have that hole dug and they can just put the rig over water. So Dallas is similar where they use the same venue every year. So they have a couple holes that they have dug, which they typically use for things like Colossus or so I don't expect to see a rig over water, but the
Mm,
when I said Savage kind of dialed back the rigs last year, that was specifically in the series races, and Dallas wasn't a series race. So we still saw that
right.
the harder obstacles, harder rig there. So I expect it to be kind of similar today, except no rig over water.
So you should have a pretty good chance then.
We'll see. Only if
I
it's
just
wet. If it's dry, I think all those top ladies are just going to smoke me.
I'm just taking a look in the comments and seeing what people are saying. People are very supportive Rachel Waters, and talking about the techniques going through that obstacle. It was really interesting on that final rig. It's just really interesting how one rig can make such a difference. But that technique of getting really high, which you wouldn't necessarily think, but like really, but I mean
Yeah.
really high, they were getting to complete that rig,
Yeah. As
clinging
high as
onto
you
the
can.
top.
Yeah, it
Why
takes
does that
a
make such a difference?
I think then it gives you more opportunity to put your legs on those slicker obstacles because if you're coming into it and you're already kind of low and you slip 6 inches, then that could be your leg slipping off the bottom of the obstacle. So if you come in high, it gives you a little more of leeway for if you slip a little bit, you can still hang on and hopefully still make it through. So I think it just gives you a little more room to slip, pretty much.
Fair enough.
And
We're
it
just
could have
waiting
been that
for the.
that tape that we saw could have been a little grippier. So maybe that was
Mhm.
making a difference as well.
I understand that tape's there to kind of stop people getting splinters, but it looked like it was actually slidier. Like it looked like the kind of tape that makes it appeared like you would just slide right off that
Yeah.
with a bit of damp. So although it's kind of there to protect you, it made it look a lot harder.
Yeah, but you pointed out or asked the question if they could grab the top of that piece there, and I did see a couple athletes doing that, putting their hand on the top of it, which is legal for Savage, so that's fine. But I think that also maybe was helping with as far as getting high goes, because then you have a more firm grasp on something, as opposed to having a sideways grip is less secure. If you have that vertical movement, you can hang on your skeleton and
Mm-hmm.
instead of having to use that grip strength as much.
So I've just checked and we've got a few women coming through now. So just to update you on how the women are doing. In first place, we had Chris Rogloski. Second was Jamie Horonopoulos. Third place was Rachel Waters. Then Sarah Tucker came in fourth. Michelle Cazold in fifth. Krista, I apologize, it's going to be tricky. Krista Kublekowicz. That's a good, strong name. Erin Myers and Sarah Grippy Snyder. And that is all the women that have come through. I apologize for getting that name completely wrong. I understand how annoying it is, as I have a difficult name as well. So there we go. Wow, 23 minutes between first and eighth, and we don't have 9 and 10 in yet. That was a tricky race for the women. And that's also another conversation that's had. It's not just about making the race challenging for athletes, it's balancing it between the male and female athletes and making it challenging enough and possible enough for everyone to do.
So, two names on this list, something that I recognize is in fifth place, we had Michelle Castle, and in eighth
Mm-hmm.
place, we had Sarah Grippy Snyder. Both of those ladies are in the top 10 for the series right now. Michelle is in sixth, and Sarah Grippy Snyder is in fifth. So, they are
Mm-hmm.
right next to each other in the results. They are 3 points away from each other. So this, I think, is going to put them tied. So we mainly focus on
Wow.
those top ladies, right? So we're always looking at like the top four. We've talked about them a lot, but you kind of lose sight a little bit on the live coverage and things like that to what's happening in like fifth, sixth, and seventh place. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a race that shook up the series.
Mm. I mean, in terms of so for the events that happen, there are payouts for the top three, but when it comes to the series, the payouts happen up to the top fifth. Now, it's not a huge payout for fifth, but it still is. It still counts. There's still recognition of it. So yeah, we do talk normally kind of about the top three. It's difficult to go further than that with what's available to us, but yeah, it's really exciting, and it'll happen with the men as well to see these changes happening kind of after the top 1, 2, 3. With people that are racing consistently, people who are putting in the work, like we mentioned as well, Ian Hosek, we've said a few times, and kind of see how, yeah, okay, we might not be shouting your name out during the event, but we can see you climbing and that you are just performing consistently. And yeah, it's really, really exciting to then get this when people are so close in points that these results can kind of put them tied.
Yeah. To me, that was something exciting for me last year because I was in that kind of gray area where I was like outside of the top four. So my name wasn't getting mentioned a whole lot, but I was still in that battle where I was fighting for every
Mm.
placement. So I knew I couldn't really catch the person ahead of me. It was Rachel Waters. We had, by the time we hit that last race, we had quite a sizable gap. It might have been 10 points or something. So there
Mm.
was really no way I was going to beat Rachel by 10 placements. But the person behind me was only 3 or 4 points behind. So that's something that you have to consider going into a race is like, who do I need to beat to maintain or improve my placement? So I bet going into this, Sarah and Michelle, although we haven't been talking about them a whole lot, I bet they are very aware of each other and we're in that battle today. So that's going to be fun to see how those placements kind of shake up here in the next couple races. I might look for that battle a little bit more because I know that they're tied in the series, and that makes for kind of like a fun race.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that kind of, oh, we're getting some results come through on the preliminary men's leaderboard. So at the top is still Ryan Kempson, followed by Joseph Cotto, who wasn't here today, but because of his results and the amount of races that he's done, he's been able to place so high. Sam Osborne is in third, Robbie Gingerich in fourth, Ashton Abraham fifth. Ian Hosek is in sixth, Freddie Thompson seventh, Johnny Morris eighth, Jesse Beam ninth, and Sean Roberts is in 10th. So that's because of the amount of races that he's done. So Sean has done 3 races and Ryan has done 5. It's your top 5 scores that count, although Florida is mandatory, isn't it? So if Florida's mandatory, does that mean your score from Florida has to count? Or you just have to be there?
Yeah, I believe you just have to be there. I don't think that it has
Okay.
to be a point values for your top. So
It's
about
just your
this
top points.
leaderboard, you can see Ryan's in first because he's done 5 races. Second through ninth place have done 4 races, so that's their placement. And then Sean Roberts in that top 10 spot has only done 3. But Sean has only not won one of those races that he comes to. So as soon as he
Yeah.
hits 5 races, he's going to be right up there with Ryan Kempson, depending on how his
Mm-hmm.
next couple races go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sean performs really well when he comes here, and it's very often a battle between the two of them. At Gainesville, between Sean Roberts and Ryan Kempson, it was 32 seconds difference, a minute in Georgia, and those are the 2 events that he took part in. And today, as we saw, it was nothing. It was photo finish. So Sean has it in him to be challenging Ryan when he gets the races under his belt, but he's just not been as at many. And it's really interesting to see this difference between the men's leaderboard and the women's leaderboard, because we're looking at first place on the women's, and I don't think that can change now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Here we have top 6 have all done 4 races. So quite a
So
difference
this isn't
from.
the updated leaderboard. This is pre today's event. That was Chris coming in first, but Chris is still in first, and she now has 500 points. No one's gonna beat that. But
Yeah.
in the men's leaderboard, there can still be changes, and in the women's leaderboard following that, there's going to be massive changes. It's really interesting all the different ways that it can
For
work.
sure. we're gonna, like we were just talking about Michelle and Sarah Grippy Snyder, we're gonna see that same kind of thing play out now with Jamie Horianopoulos and Alex Walker. So good thing for Alex is she's done all the races so far, so she can afford to
Mm,
drop one. So if her placement today isn't as great, it'll still turn out in her advantage, but it's also going to help Jamie in the point wise to have done so well at today's race for that second place. So I think
I
that's
mean,
going to
Jamie's,
become kind of more of the battle to watch, because like you said, Chris at this point is just going to run away with it. Even if somebody else beats her for all the rest of the races, she still essentially she has a perfect score, 500 points out of
yeah.
500. So
And you did mention as well, so the next event is Dallas. There's a good chance she'll be there because Dallas was kind of her hometown racing. So here we go.
yeah,
This is the updated leaderboard
and Alex Walker
for
as
the women.
well. Alex is a Texas athlete, so we might see both of
Mm.
them there at that Dallas course.
So in first place, Chris Rogowski with 500 points. That is 5 races done and 5 races won. So she has a clean 500 points. That is more than anybody else in the leaderboard so far. Second place, Jamie Horanopoulos with 491. So she's not massively far behind. Rachel Waters is in third with 482. Michelle Cazold in fourth with 465. Sarah Grippy Snyder in fifth with 464. Alex Walker in sixth with 394, which is a huge change for Alex. She has gone from being in second place down to sixth. But the season's not over. There's still 2 more races to go, one of which is mandatory. Seventh is Heather Bushter with 351. Chrissy McFarland in 8th with 282, Casey Monroe in 9th with 282, and Jessica Shepherd in 10th with 281. So Casey Monroe, she was kind of talking that if she does well today, she will be pushing to kind of continue with the rest of the series. It's looking like she came in 10th, I think, today. So it'll be interesting to see what she does with the rest of the series. So thank you so much for joining us today for the coverage for the 5th Savage Pro Series event. We were in Chicago with the OCR report. I just want to give a huge thank you out to Savage Race for allowing us to be here, to all of our rabbits who run so hard, to the OCR report, and to Jason in the background. Also, thank you, Miranda, for being here with me.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time in Dallas on October 7th.